Hello, everybody. Welcome to another 3 Geeks Conversation. I'm joined today by Paul Dale and Jenna-Francis Duvic. How you guys doing today?
Another day in paradise, man. How you doing?
Good, good. Man, it's 11 a.m. where you guys are. That's kind of early.
Yeah, where are you based out of?
I'm in Ohio. It's noon. I've been up since like 5:30, but 11 still kind of early, especially to get on the and talk to people.
Just a bit.
I have a question for each of you guys before we jump into the movie. But what got you guys into wanting to be filmmaker/actress?
Jenna, you want to go ahead?
Okay, I guess I'll go first. So what really got me into acting is I had really bad anxiety growing up in high school and stuff. And whenever I stepped on stage for the first time, I feel like it just kind of all went away in that moment. So I really fell in love with acting and started looking at film more. And yeah, that's how I started, I guess.
Yeah, that's how I started podcasting. I was very socially awkward. I started the podcast, and it was like, oh, I can talk. Wow, this is awesome. What about you, Paul?
Yeah, I'll tell you, when I was a kid, there was a movie that made the rounds, I guess, a little bit called Cinema Paradiso. It was an Italian movie, and my grandfather was obsessed with it. And it's about this little kid in this village in Sicily, right, who basically falls in love with movies. And anyway, so they was telling me when I was a kid that I looked like that kid. You know, when you're a kid, you don't really differentiate between like what is real and what isn't. So in my mind as a child, I was like, that's me. That's who I am. And the kid in the movie winds up growing up to be a filmmaker. So sadly, my entire life trajectory was based off of an Italian film from the 90s. It's the very abbreviated version of that story. I should have been a plumber. I'd make more money. If they'd have told me I looked like Mario, maybe I'd have had a shot in life.
That's funny. So, guys, tell me about the movie. Murdaritaville.
Yeah. Murdaritaville. So Murdaritaville is a love letter to a recently deceased beach crooner, who I shall remain nameless for legal reasons at the moment. But yeah, basically you got a group of friends on their way to an impersonation contest of this particular singer. And while they're on their way, they stop off to sort of have a little bit of a party, a pregame at somebody's fishing camp. And then lo and behold, a half man, half bird mutant creature shows up and starts picking them off one by one until Jen's character has to save the day. There's my elevator pitch for you.
That is awesome. See, everybody's rushing to make all these properties like Winnie the Pooh and Mickey Mouse out there in the public domain. But, we've been talking about just do something new and original. Yeah, Parrot Man. I can't wait to check this out.
It's a lot of fun, man. I love it personally. I think it's the best thing I've ever done. And I've done some really dumb things. So the bar's very low, but
it sounds fun. How'd you get involved with the project, Jenna?
Paul actually reached out to me. He saw my demo reel and thought that I guess I was a good fit for the character that he wanted. So yeah, that's how I got on with it. But it was really fun making. We had a really fun time. So.
What is that like? Because you were only in like one or two other projects prior to this. Like, what is it like getting a phone call and being like, I think you'd be right for this? Like, just out of the blue phone call? That's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, it was really nice because like I had just put my demo reel up on YouTube maybe like, I don't know, a few days before. And I just did it to like have, my own demo reel. I didn't know like anybody was going to see it, I guess, and think anything of it. So it was really nice feeling, yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you, from my perspective, one of my multiple day jobs that I have so I can actually afford to make these movies. I work with a guy who directed a film that Jenna was in, and I told him I needed an actress, and he suggested her, and he was like, look her up. So I Googled her and found this demo reel, and I was like, man, she's great. She's perfect. So yeah, and she came on board into the very weird world of By the Horns films and and ran with the punches, thankfully.
Yeah.
Well, I've just flagged your IMDb because there's some stuff on here that I want to check out. Silent but Deadly, fast food and cigarettes. Like I can't wait. I can't wait.
Oh yeah, man. So Silent but Deadly is the first film of this sort of subgenre of movies that I made, this sort of horror comedy thing. It's about a killer mime. And it's probably joke for joke one of my favorites. I love Silent but Deadly. Fast Food and Cigarettes is just a weird sort of experimental movie that I made that nobody saw. Like 3 people have watched that movie, so if you see it, you'd be the 4th. Yeah, and then we've got, of course, Sewer Gators and Killer Kites in there as well. And just in terms of if you like the sort of ridiculous, over-the-top monster movies, then they're probably up your alley.
Where do you come up with the idea for a half parrot man?
That's a good question. So the sort of genesis of the idea was originally it was going to be a bunch of. So I came up with the title first, right? So it was Murdaritaville, and I knew I wanted to make a movie that was sort of parodying that world, right? And the initial genesis of the idea was it was going to be a bunch of impersonators having a party of this particular singer, who I'm told by certain legal people I shouldn't say the name of because it's a weird gray area thing. Because it doesn't matter anyway. So yeah, it was going to be a bunch of impersonators, right? Beach singing impersonators, I'll say that, and they were going to start getting picked off one by one, and in sort of and then there were none style, and it was just going to be sort of a classic whodunit type of deal. And then the more I thought about it, I was sort of like, well, I'd rather do a creature feature because it's more fun and it's more sort of ridiculous. And so the fans of this particular individual that the movie is sort of sending up is they're known as parrot heads, right? So the idea of I was like, well, what if you just literally took it to the place where it was a literal parrot head? So a man who has half man, half parrot. And then me and my buddy Dylan, who wrote the script with me, we just kind of kicked around ideas and came up with this whole backstory and lore and stuff. And I'll tell you the one joke that didn't make it into the film that I really wanted to do, but it just wasn't viable for the story, but it really would have been a great gag, was the whole time it was just going to be a guy in like a mascot parrot mask killing people, right? And so you think it's like a Jason Voorhees or some kind of slasher villain, and then at the climax of the movie they were going to take the mask off and he was going to be the parrot creature underneath. Which was, it's just one of those things. Like it would have been just a really dumb visual gag, but it would have made me laugh. But yeah, it didn't work for the story that we wrote, so I had to lose that joke, unfortunately.
That's awesome. This sounds like a lot of fun. What is the production like of making a movie like this? Like, how long does it take you from start to finish?
Well, conceptually, it depends on how long the script takes to write. I'll say that there is I tend to work very fast on these things, just because when you don't have the money to make stuff, you have to, move quickly. So, I started working on the script in probably April of last year. We started shooting in July? That sound right? Yeah. So we shoot for like 4 or 5 days, and they're rapid days. We shoot with multiple cameras, and everybody's just kind of running around like chickens with their head cut off. And then it goes into post, and post-production takes the longest because it's one of these situations where you're like, well, I didn't get that shot that I wanted, so how am I going to piecemeal this thing together?
Yeah.
But I'm curious, Jenna, what's your perspective on how production went on this thing? Sorry, I'm going to take over the interview.
I mean, I just think it was a lot of fun. It wasn't like too serious, if you didn't get your line right away, if you had to take a couple takes or whatever, it wasn't too serious. So it was fun. And it was a beautiful location, so it was really nice being, on that river. Yeah, I don't know, I just had a lot of fun.
Awesome, guys. So where can everybody find the movie? When does it release?
So the movie officially comes out March 1st. Right now, they can pre-order it at buythehorns.store. And up until now, until March 1st, it's 20% off if you pre-order any physical media or a digital version. And if you use the promo code PARROT on the digital version, a little exclusive for you, you get an extra 10% off of that too. So So yeah, it'll be available through our website, which is bythehorns.store. And then after that, it'll go on Amazon, and eventually it'll make its way down to the other platforms. But yeah, March 1st, it should be out there. We've got it on Blu-ray and VHS too, if anybody wants a VHS copy of the movie, which is fun. The really fun thing about VHS is if you watch it all the way through past the end credits, you'll get like half of Aladdin or something, because that's what I tape over.
Nice. That's amazing. Where can everybody find you guys online?
At By the Horns TV on all the socials for me, and yeah, you can keep up to date on our weird projects if you like these sort of silly B movies. We do a lot of them. I know we've got at least another one coming up this year, hopefully a few more, depending on how things go. And Jen, are you still off social media?
I'm off social media, but I still have it. Like, my page is still up. So my Instagram is just my name. It's just _ Jenna-Francis _ on Instagram. And I think like Facebook, it's like Jenna Duvic. But yeah.
I avoid social media if you can. Fantastic. I'm glad that you can stay off of it. Promoting a movie, it's a bit harder though, Paul. So
yeah, that's. You won't see any pictures of my lunch or anything on there. I pretty much just post about the movie stuff. I'm an old man.
I hear you, man. I hear you. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me. I can't wait to see the movie.
Awesome. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.